everyone, this is FantasyEsque, and welcome back to the Sims 4 Vampire Amazon Royal Saga with the Salazar Coven. We are picking up in the throne room with our morning coven members so that they can welcome the new blood that has come to replace the deceased broodmother, Lady Lagatha. So, before we get into that, let's go through what happened in the mini-movie, because we were following up on an action-packed episode previously where, we had a bunch of crazy things happen. We had a death, and we apprehended the, not villain, because she wasn't really the villain in this case, but the murderer, the serial killer that's been going around, not realizing it, but killing people. So that's kind of what we did. Now, in the mini-movie, we started off with a very solitary scene with Azura. She was in her cell and she was very miserable because things turned around so quickly she didn't even realize what was happening, from accidentally killing Lagatha after Juno agitated her powers. Of course, this was the plan of the Secret Council. They knew what they were doing, they just didn't know who would end up in the firing line. And then to being, fought with by Guinevere, and then being apprehended and thrown in a cell. She had no clue what the heck was going on. And then, finding out that she's the one who's been killing people, the same time that everyone else is finding out that she's the one that's been killing people. It's a lot to process. So she was in her cell and she was just thinking, how could this happen? What's going to be my fate? I was so sure that I would do well here. And it makes me pity her, because when I think about her phrase in the intro, it's, everyone will love me in court. Just see, they'll all love me in court. That's what she's always believed, and that's kind of how she's been living. But this time around, she didn't necessarily do anything or many things wrong. It was literally her blood. Her blood turned against her. Her own, strange powers manifested against her will or knowledge and ended up backfiring. So, yeah, we had that. And then we had a scene between Guinevere and Eden. Guinevere was essentially putting down her foot and saying, I will not forgive her. She must be killed. Lady, Lagatha's death cannot be in vain. Remember, in the previous episode, even though she was sad, she was kind of proud that her beloved put herself in the firing line for a grand cause, and she didn't back down. She was strong. Even though she wasn't a champion or of a champion line, she was strong. And that's someone who's worthy of Guinevere and Guinevere's affection. So she kind of accepted that, and she was saying that Lagatha's death cannot be in vain. The killer must be killed. And the queen, she agreed with Guinevere. She said, you are right, sister. And normally she tries to keep a bit of distance between her and Guinevere by referring to her title as lady, but this time around, I think because they're both in mourning over people they loved who have died recently, she referred to her as sister, and she said, I lost Catherine to her as well, so I will give you this, execute her for her crimes. Which Guinevere was very happy to hear, and then, she said, thank you, your majesty. And then the next scene was the execution. So Guinevere took the mantle upon herself. So normally, when these kind of things happen, it's the new physician that's brought in, who's essentially tasked with killing or taking down, executing the previous traitor. That's one of the things that the physicians are tasked with. Not only because they have magical abilities, but usually, as the physician, they know how to make poisons as well. So they usually give poison to the traitors, and that's their method of death or dying. But this time around, because Guinevere had a personal grievance, she wanted to be the executioner. She wanted to use her vampiric powers to take Azura down. There's personal satisfaction in it for her. So she was basically lining Azura up and saying, your end is nigh. And Azura, saying, I'll be executioner. Azura was really, again, I think regretting everything that's happened, things she didn't have control over, and she said, I am sorry, I never meant for any of this. I hope at least that gives you some peace. And Guinevere just wasn't having it. She transformed into a dark form, and she said, "It is a shame then that those who deserve peace cannot hear your words. I do not care for your pleasantries." And then she used her vampiric powers. She struck Azora, and essentially she triggered a magical overload of Azora's own powers. So Azora ended up dying a very miserable death, as you guys saw. Yeah, it was violent. She ended up dying a very miserable death, which I do feel bad, but also I don't. I do, but I don't, because, you know, Lagatha was one of my favorite characters. Guinevere is my favorite character, so, you know, heckadoodle. She can do what she wants, and I will support her. I will be behind her. So, yeah, Guinevere was happy, so I was happy. And then we had a scene in the throne room. After all of that, we had the queen, you know, addressing all the people, and we have like a bunch of males coming and going. You know, they were present during the death that happened during the Blood Bowl and all of that fiasco. So she was just telling everyone to calm themselves, and she was saying, you know, we're mourning once more. This time it's for Lady Lagatha, but as it was with Catherine, the broodmothers, the broodmother cannot be left without a successor. Their position cannot be left empty. So we have new blood once more. And then she called the new lady into the throne room and said to present herself. So, guys, we have Lady Lucille Bennett, and this sim was submitted by Sweetheart 2016, so thank you so much for that. I will leave the creator in the description below, so you guys can download this sim and play if you want, but just know that I have given her a CC makeover, so she will have, she'll probably look very different and have none of this. Again, I don't change any features except for the ears, because I use specific, CC ears. Apart from that, everything else kind of stays the same. And then obviously my ascension, I call them my ascension ears, and then the ascension eyes. So I give them, you know, specific CC eye contacts to put on, because that's part of my ascension genetics that I use within the coven. I do not trust the game anymore, as you guys have kind of witnessed in the past. In the very beginning, early generations, I trusted the game to maintain my vampiric eyes through the ages. But at some point, the game started malfunctioning, and I did not like the inconsistency there was. So I just decided to screw all of that. I'm just gonna use CC eyes and make my own genetics. So that is kind of how things work. But let's take a look at Lucille Bennett. Guys, I have to say, I mean, when Lady, what is her name? Lexi? There we go. When Lady Lexi joined us, I mean, it was great. We had new blood. But I was nowhere near as excited as I am for Lady Lucille Bennett. Because just look at her, guys. Just look at her. She is gorgeous. She reminds me a lot of the female Ranareins, mainly because she's got red hair and that dusky skin. But I think she might have darker skin than them, like a shade or two darker, but still, she's got kind of the same thing going on. But she's got very different eyes, and her face doesn't look the same as the Ranareins did. She's got more of a, they reminded me of pixies. She's got more of a feline face, I feel. She's more cattish. But she's got the same vibe, and then her personality is kind of giving me Lady Ambrosia Dark Rana vibes. So I don't know if you guys remember our very, very, very first scholar whose bloodline died with her because she had sons but no daughters. But she was an amazing character. Probably my favorite, if not one of my favorites in her generation. More so than the Queen, I'm pretty sure. But she reminds me, her personality, I can see potential for Ambrosia in this lady over here. So she has, like I said, she's got cocoa skin, like chocolate, so beautiful. And then she's got mint eyes. She is the first lady that has mint eyes, I think, in the court. and then also among the younger girls. And I think, who was it, Lagatha's son? I think Lagatha's first son, her eldest son. No, he had blue eyes. Who's got mint eyes? The Prince Rusty. Prince Rusty has mint eyes. Nobody else, I'm pretty sure, has inherited this, but it just looks gorgeous on her. And then her outfits, they're kind of following a light blue sort of scheme. But let's take a look. I just love the short hair on her as well. She looks just so cool. She looks so cool and so different from the others. I mean, obviously the redhead, but Carly, in case you guys are curious, Carly looked very much like all of the Rana Rains. They actually look very much like Kyra, except they like the eyes and the hair, and the face, the facial structure, and all her features. The only difference is that they had dusky skin, whereas Kyra, she has light skin. But yeah, apart from that, it's just I love it. Actually, if you can kind of see the comparison here between the new lady. So you can see Lucille and Elaine. I think the Rana Rain's skin tone was probably closer to Elaine. It might have been between. Actually, hold on. We can figure this out because all we have to do really is look at Luciano. Yeah, okay. So a bit darker. Where is... Oh, there we go. Great comparison. Like right at the top here, if you look at the relationship panel, guys, I love how they lined up. Perfect for what I'm trying to show you guys. But you can see Elaine, Lucille, and Luciano. So the Rana Rain bloodline, they had Luciano's exact skin tone. Like all of the females, they had Luciano's skin tone. So Elaine's a bit lighter, and then Lucille, you can see, she's darker than the Rana Rains were. But she kind of has like this similar vibe going on. But okay, let's take a look at her personality. Let us take a look at her personality. Because when Lexi moved in, we kind of said how, she seems like a level-headed force of good, and she probably isn't going to be a threat to Catalea. In fact, they became friends really quickly, and she'll probably, settle in with everyone fine and well. She's okay being independent. She doesn't really want to get into cliques or anything like that. So Catalea was concerned about Lexi, but she quickly disarmed her. Well, now we have this member, and I really don't know how this member is going to gel with everyone else, because her personality, guys, she's romantic, self-absorbed, and erratic. So yeah, she gives me a lot of Lady Ambrosia vibes in that regard. And she's a brood mother, remember? So her little quote in the beginning, in the intro, is, "The children will flourish under my guidance." So she is kind of self-obsessed, right? She's kind of self-obsessed. She's very romantic. Now, this has been a problem. We know that in this generation, at least, romantic sims, they have been cause for a lot of drama. They always end up getting involved in some mess. So, the partner she picks will probably determine a lot of the drama that happens. Whether she finds her own kind of, happy bubble, or she decides to burst everyone else's, we don't know. She's completely unpredictable at this point. But yeah, self-absorbed. I think she believes that, it's not that she thinks she's better than everyone else. I feel like Lady Lucille is just so in love with herself. Like, she's so happy with herself. She doesn't spend a lot of time wanting to be others or wanting to be accepted by others. So she's not vying for approval. Her approval is the only one that matters, right? I feel like that's her. And so with the children, I feel like she wants to raise them in a way where they don't have space to doubt themselves, and they absolutely love themselves, and they absolutely love her. I feel like that's kind of what she's gonna want to impart to the next generation. Now, the kids that are growing up under her is Princess Bloom, of course. Even though Lucille's going to be here most of the time, a lot of, her teachings and stuff is what is going to be practiced and taught at the Creature Cradle. So Bloom will be raised by kind of her mindset. And then we also have the next female to be born. She'll be raised under Lucille's mindset as well, which might be a bit different to Lagatha's. Lagatha, I feel like, was much more gentle, less in your face, more give the kids some space, let them figure themselves out, and also, I think, try to be inclusive of everyone. Whereas I feel like Lucille's mindset is more like make yourself exclusive, right? Make yourself exclusive. She's going to want to get involved with everyone, like all the kids, I feel like, know what's going on, because, she kind of knows the way to do things. Like, this is the right way to be. So I don't know if her stubbornness or her passion for making people love themselves will kind of get in the way of that, because she's going to be a bit of a busybody, but I don't know, we'll see. Also, she's erratic, so, she's completely unpredictable emotionally. She might react suddenly to certain things people say to her. She might, create scenarios in her head about the way people are talking to her or about their attitude towards her. We don't know how that's going to manifest. We know that Ambrosia always struggled to get along with the youngsters. So this maybe, she seems like a time bomb. It may be a bit dangerous to have someone like her be brood mother, because she might have all these ideas, but she might not have the patience to see it through, right? She might be too self-important to actually encourage the kids to grow. If they don't want to listen to her, she might end up having a temper tantrum and, tell them off. So I don't know, she might be a bit of an extreme brood mother to have. And also, when she's, in pursuit of romance, if someone rejects her or doesn't accept her advances, she might do something out of spite or say something out of spite, or who knows? She might have severe reactions to those kind of things. I'm not entirely sure. But also, in regards to that, if she is slighted by anyone, I don't feel like she's going to have a problem speaking out, because she's not the type of person who feels like she needs to control her language to fit in, or her actions. For her, it's like, I can do whatever the hell I want, because how I feel and how I think is probably more important than anyone else. So, yeah, we've got that going on. I'm actually very, very excited to have her with us. But Azora is deceased. She is dead, of course. We have to move her remains to Trader's Rest, which I have not done yet, so I will get around to that. Also, we have added Lady Lagatha's gravestone over here to the graveyard with everyone else. It is growing. Ever so slowly, it is growing. But that's kind of what we have going on. It is 11. The queen is going to have her baby around 5. So yeah, that is also something we have to look forward to. At present, we only have one council member, that is Guinevere. Guinevere is going to, I think, stay the sole council member until the next council reappointment. So even though this is a time of loss, it's actually... Hold on a second. Let me put autonomy back on, guys. Even though it is a time of loss, it is also a very, very good time politically for Guinevere, because she recently has become a council member, right? She's recently been invited back. And also at this point, she is the queen's only council member. So depending on, how she acts, with the queen being so vulnerable right now, having lost a council member, also, I want to talk about this because I feel like I haven't really in a while. Remember how initially the queen, she's always kind of had feelings for Lagatha, but the thing was she never had the courage to pursue that, and Lagatha was never really interested, but the queen used to get quite jealous when other people gave Lagatha attention, and she didn't take it well. the only person who kind of got away with it and was kind of allowed to have, or was able, not allowed, but able to have any sort of relationship with Lagertha was Guinevere, because, she's the only one strong enough to go up against the queen. I feel like at some point, probably around the time she married Catherine, the queen kind of realized that Lagertha was never going to return her feelings and never going to feel the same way. And it was kind of a dead end for her to keep pining over her. So I think she kind of resolved that in her mind, and she stopped being so attached to Lagertha. But Lagertha was, in a lot of ways, her first love. So, she's obviously still upset about that. And so she's kind of emotionally not there. So I feel like Guinevere could take that this time and that position to exercise control over her weak sister. She may do that. Like the Shadow Queen thing she was doing in the very beginning. She might go ahead and start doing that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what she decides. But for literally this next season and a half, she is the only one who's going to be advising the queen on anything and everything. And we know Guinevere can be a little bit extreme at times. So I'm quite intrigued to see how things go. And what's this? She's insulting Eve. Of course she's insulting Eve, remember? She's not happy with the visitants right now. She is not happy with the visitants. And this is probably also why Juno trusted Guinevere along with Kyra and Lagertha. Because, they're not entirely pro-visitant. They're not pro-visitant at all. They're more traditionalist. So, yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. Other things to address. Now, with the death of Azora, obviously the position of physician is going to be vacant, or is vacant right now at present. So there is that for the queen to deal with. And just in time, I suppose, Delphi aged up into a teenager, and I have given Delphi a makeover. So let's take a look at her. She looks so cool, actually. This is Delphi, guys, as a teen. Now, she is the daughter of Serana Covenrose. So she's actually the one, I'm fairly sure, that was born after Serana killed Lord Voldemort. So, she killed a visitant prince and practiced devil magic to have Delphi be born. And I think it worked. Was it with her birth? Yeah, I'm pretty sure with her. Well, was it not? Whose birth was it with? I'm pretty sure it was hers. Yeah, so it did work. It did work. And I'm wondering, I think also with the stuff that's happened with the visitants, the queen is going to feel as though now is a good time for them to distance themselves a little bit from the Valenka bloodline and have the Covenroses return, right? So Delphi's almost getting a chance to redeem her bloodline by serving as physician. But also, I feel like all of the members of the Secret Council in particular, they're going to be very happy that Delphi is being brought back, even though Delphi's mother was a traitor, because the whole existence of Delphi is like a slap in the visitant's face, because she was able to be born with the death of the visitant prince. So there might be a lot of tension actually between Eve and Delphi, because Voldemort was Eve's father, and they are in the same companion group. They've never been that close. She's actually been closer with Estelle than Delphi, because Estelle is, Azora's daughter, and by extension, she is, part of the visiting group that's following Eve in the castle. But Delphi, yeah, that might be interesting. But kind of by the same thing, we have Chance. Chance is interesting because, he's from a visitant bloodline. Actually, no. Yeah, he is from a visitant bloodline, but he is a Covenrose. So I feel like he's got a very interesting kind of thing, identity going on, which we haven't really touched on. George and Delphi, they're entirely on the visitant side, along with, who is it? Along with Xander. They're, almost entirely considered Coven Roses, whereas Chance, he's a bit unique because he is a visitant, essentially. He's descended from the visitants. He even has those horns. The only male descendant to have those horns. And yet he is a Coven Rose. He is born to the woman who killed the visitant prince. So he's interesting. And in case you guys are wondering what the hell is happening with Chance, why aren't they doing anything about Chance? Because, he also killed Flippin' Leon. Well, guys, we know the Secret Council had that thing with the visitants. We also know Juno found out about the visitants and the, strange powers and manifestation through Elaine. We also know Elaine definitely knows about Chance because that's kind of how she and Luciano found out the visitants were having problems, because they had their eye on Chance, and when he killed Leon, it was kind of confirmed for them. We know that. And we know that Elaine shared details with the Secret Council in order to take down Azora. What was never said, though, is that Elaine, in all of this, has been very specific with the problem being Azora. She has never actually disclosed to everyone else that along with Azora, the death of, Leon, was actually due to Chance. So, with Elaine, in the past, she's done this kind of thing before, even with this, Serana. When she knows certain details, she chooses to reveal only parts of it that are helpful to her or that are beneficial to her. She doesn't actually come clean about everything, and that's one of the reasons why Juno's so cautious of her. But guys, she didn't tell anyone about Chance. She knows Chance is a wild card here, but she hasn't actually told anyone that Chance killed Leon. She's been focusing mainly on Azora when she's talking about visitant powers. Obviously, people might still be pissed off at Chance because, he is very visibly a visitant, but they don't blame him for anything because they don't know that his powers also manifested and he also killed someone. They're assuming, even though Elaine really has only said that Elaine killed Sage, Elaine killed Catherine, obviously everyone's seen Elaine killed Lagatha, everyone's assuming that, Jeez, I just whacked the table with my hand. I was getting so excited. But yeah, everyone's assuming that Azora... Did I see Elaine? Sorry, you guys know what I'm saying. Yeah, everyone's assuming that Azora, she killed Catherine, she killed Sage, she obviously killed Lagatha, but she also killed Leon. That's what everyone's assuming. Nobody's going out of their way to actually question the fact that there was more than one killer. For them, it's Azora, right? And Elaine hasn't clarified, even though she knows what's happening. So I don't know her plans for Chance in the future, but I feel like she sees him as a bit of a wild card. Because obviously he wouldn't know that he's manifesting these powers either. But also, all the spellcaster children were oddly fascinated by Leon's death. So that was kind of freaky. But I think Elaine... she likes to have her secret cards. So I don't know what's going to happen with Chance, but that's entirely determined on Elaine's plans and her behavior. So she's kept that a secret from almost everyone. Only she and Luciano know about him and his whole thing. So as far as everyone else is concerned, the issue has been dealt with. We don't have really visitants running amok. That's going to cause a problem. But also we have to think that there is Estelle. Estelle is still a daughter of Azora. So, what's going to happen with her when she's old enough to start potentially manifesting these powers? Are they going to do something to keep a check on her, or do they want to get rid of her, stop her from serving in the future because she might cause someone's death when, she's old enough. Azura had these problems as an immortal, so maybe they're thinking once you're an immortal, then you start manifesting these visitant powers. Chance is still a teen, so, they're not even worried about him. But I feel like those two, they might think about this at some point in the future. Even though the immediate problem has been dealt with, there is still the chance that, these two, they could become hazardous to the health of the coven. So they may have to think about this, and they may have to deal with them. Either expel them from the coven, stop their line, stop them from serving, from, procreating within their ranks, or figure some sort of lock on them to make sure that they aren't able to access those powers and to kill others. So, yeah, there was a lot to talk about in this episode. I feel like we had a lot of changes. But yeah, Delphi, she'll be brought in the next episode, and, I'll also have her in the intro by that point. I thought it would be okay for us to not have her move in immediately because, we already have a new member that I wanted to focus on with Lady Lucille. And also, the Queen is supposed to be having her baby, and I've got things paused because, 5 p.m. is almost here. She's already in labor. So I'm gonna go get the castle emptied out, and then we'll jump back in and see how the Queen's doing. Okay, guys, we are ready with our Queen and her daughters. Normally, I'm a bit confused about who to have within the household when, the sim goes into labor, but I figured, with the Queen this time, I wanted her daughters to be present because we've kind of seen instances where they have interesting sentiments about the new baby that's born, like with Kyra, who's sitting next to Eve, interestingly enough. She was quite envious of Eve, quite jealous of Eve and the attention she was getting when she was born, as the first visitant princess. So I'm curious to see if anyone here is going to have, a similar sort of sentiment for the newest baby that's going to be born, if it is a girl. We even have Bloom with us. We have Bloom. Look at her. And obviously, look at how excited she is. Look at how excited this cutie pie is. She obviously doesn't know, probably, a whole gist of what's happening. But I'm sure Lagatha, before she passed away, would have imparted on Bloom that the baby that is going to be born is going to be very close to you because you two, share the same mother, but also your fathers are twin brothers. So this baby will be the closest to you out of all the babies that will be born. I'm sure she would have imparted that on Bloom, which is why she is so excited to see her potential new brother or sister. So we have that going on. She's innocent, she doesn't really know the grief that's going on right now, whereas everyone else, they are quite upset more or less. And I kind of find this interesting, the fact that Eve, she's sitting next to Kyra, yes, but she looks a bit miserable to be there. Kyra looks miserable to be sitting next to her. And then Juno, she's actually kind of kept Diana at her side. So I find that very fascinating that she's kept Diana to her side. And it almost seems as though, even though, Diana by blood she's also half visitant. She's just like Eve, except her father wasn't royal, her father was a noble. But she's kind of squeezed in between Kyra and Juno, almost as though they're protecting her from visitant influence. So they're over there. Eve is obviously looking in that corner, but she's kind of being excluded from that. And then Bloom, she's just sitting next to the Queen. So we need to go ahead and see whether or not this is going to be the end of the breeding season. If the Queen has a girl, it means that is it, guys. We have our 6 baby girls. We don't need to do any more breeding. But I have to say, a part of me, even though I want there to be another mini Bloom, I also kind of want the Queen to have a prince, because we did just get 2 really cool new coven members. It's new blood. And I would love for, their bloodlines to take a root, if that was possible. But, that could only happen if the Queen has a boy, and we still have that 1 girl slot. So, I don't know, I've got mixed feelings. But also, I think the previous boy, or the previous baby was a boy. So, I'm I'm confused, guys. I'm confused. Regardless, the game shall decide for us. I do have my names list ready. So let's actually go ahead and see whether the queen is going to have yet another girl. She has had Daryl, and she has had Myron. Not Myron, what am I saying? Rusty. She's had Rusty and Daryl, so you never know. The game could be like, hey, maybe we should give the new blood vampires a chance. Or maybe it'll be like, no, I want my court of princesses. Let's go ahead and have a look. The queen is going to have this baby, and let us see what it shall be. And obviously, Juno and Kyra are probably not that happy about this baby's birth from the get-go, because it's another visitant child, and knowing what they do about, you know, what Azura has done. Right now, I feel like there's a lot of anti-visitant sentiments going around. I don't know if you guys are in that crowd. Are you guys anti-visitant right now, or are you not anti-visitant? But okay, here comes the baby's father, and Bloom's closest uncle. Let's have a look. And Griffin, there is Griffin. And guys, I keep pausing because I keep thinking of things. There's so much that's been happening. I noticed, you know how sometimes we've noticed in the past a younger sim, like a child sim, getting really cozy with a teenage sim. We've noticed this, and it's kind of become something in the future. I try not to take it at face value unless our sims, you know, have these whims to officially court them, but I have noticed while setting up this episode, Griffin was getting very close with Princess Diana. And they are cousins, mind you. They are cousins. So they're in the same situation as Juno and Sage. But also, Griffin, by extension, has always been claimed kind of by Juno because, you know, he is Sage's twin brother. But he's always been like the plus one. She's kind of kept the twins to herself, but she was actually in love with Sage. Who knows what'll happen, because Diana seems to now be following Juno's footsteps. Obviously nothing can happen between them. They're related. But then also, you have her sister Eve, who is involved with Prince Daryl. So, it's a strange family. We're going through some strange times. Let's just have the baby be born. And it is a girl. Oh, I've got mixed feelings. I'm happy, but I'm sad. I'm happy, but I'm sad. Oh, guys, okay. So that means that's it. This is the final baby, guys, in this generation. We are having no more children. The new-blooded vampires, they are just going to be new blood in this generation. Obviously, they're not going to be able to continue their bloodlines because they came at a time when, like, the breeding season was pretty much over. But okay, this is going to be Princess Ice Salazar. And this name was suggested to me by Jenny McKershaw, so thank you so much for this lovely name. But Princess Ice Salazar. Let's take a look at her. Oh, guys! I'm so excited. Okay. I said I had mixed feelings. I do have mixed feelings. But I'm excited because she is gonna look, I mean, we don't know her features, if that's gonna look like Bloom. But in terms of coloring, she and Bloom could be twins. Because we're gonna have the same thing happening with Ice and Bloom as we do with Kyra and Juno. They're both gonna have, like, their fathers are both twin brothers. They're both gonna have the fair skin. They're both gonna have the purple eyes. They're both gonna have the purple hair. And they're both the two youngest. I love the dynamics we have going on. I love it. But you know what would be even more fun? Is if these two princesses, they actually, I think I would like that, if they actually followed Eve. So, you know, as the two younger visitants, they would be kind of on Eve's side, almost like how their fathers were Voldemort's captains. They would kind of be her captains. And then Diana, she's going to stick with her older, non-visitant sisters, because despite her blood, she actually looks a lot like them. Like, you know, she shares the same skin and eyes as them, so they kind of overlook her visitant blood. So that would actually be interesting, and now it's possible with the birth of Ice. Oh, I'm so happy. I am so happy. Welcome, Princess Ice! The first queen to ever have 6 daughters, guys. 6 daughters we have over here with Eden. And that does mean this is the end of the breeding season. We are having no more offspring, no more children. And I think our current child count... Actually, I don't remember. It's 20 or 21, including the ones that have died. We've only had 2 deceased. But, yeah, we had, in this generation, all of our ladies combined, they had like 20 or 21 children. So, that is a lot. That is a lot of offspring. But I think we did very well, guys. We did very well. So the queen in total, she had 8 offspring. 2 of them were boys, and 6 of them were girls. Okay, well, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.